You are listening to the Boss Experience Podcast, a podcast with conversations about business growth, self-development, and maintaining a mindset to achieve business success. My name is Michele Davis, and I am a business strategist and coach, and I am your host. Let's get started. Welcome to another episode of the Boss Experience Podcast. My name is Michele Davis, and I'm your host. And just a reminder, new episodes of the Boss Experience Podcast return in January 2023. So I am sharing a bonus episode with you today. In this pre-recorded audio, I am sharing 5 key areas that are an essential part of starting a service provider business, and really for any type of business. However, for this particular episode, my focus is for people that want to monetize their expertise as a coach, consultant, or other service provider. I hope you enjoy the episode. So it's an interesting time when I'm recording this is at the end of the year. People are kind of thinking about what they want to do and, what they've done over the year. Have they done enough? Are they where they want to be? And depending on what your answer is, you are either happy about where you are right now, or you're exploring other opportunities. And for a lot of people, especially as we, whether we're heading into a recession or we're already in one, depending on who you ask, the reality is, recession or not, people are always looking for ways to earn additional income. So people are also looking to start businesses at this time of the year, or the top of the year as well. So the thing I want you to remember is know what you want before you sign on to anything, before you sign up for anything, because you have folks that are starting side hustles that really want a business, and people that are starting businesses that really may want a side hustle. And the key between the two are, two different mindsets, two different things that you may be looking at when you're thinking about starting a side hustle versus a business. And, you really need to know your goals so that you don't get sucked in to everything. And so I want to share with you the 5 key areas of starting a business. No matter what type of business you're starting, usually there's something that's going wrong. You usually have to go back and kind of look at these key areas and figure out where you're having trouble. And then there's the unofficial key area that you need to focus on with, I'll get to that in a moment. But when I first started my business in 2016, I was, hopping around different business ideas. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to start a business. So the first thing I did is I looked online. I looked on social media because I'm like, okay, my business idea is out there in social media land somewhere. And what I discovered in my venture on social media land, that it's very easy to get lost, and it's very easy to get confused and overwhelmed by all of the different options. And so what I ended up doing is I ended up, attending all these master classes and, downloading a bunch of PDFs and doing all of this, listening and consuming of information. And then when it came down to implement, this business idea I had learned about, because I had gone to, 50 different sources to get this information. I had no idea what to do because I was on information overload. And so I want to caution you from doing that. And I invested a lot of money in the different courses. I invested a lot of money into coaching. And here's the thing. I felt a little cheated because I learned a lot about the how, but, I didn't get the support to implement what I learned in these courses. Over the years, as I developed myself, got the right coach, and really did the work, for my business, I knew that I wanted to do things different. I want to support people better than the support that I received when I started my business, because it can be very confusing. And don't get me wrong, when I say, I bought a lot of courses and I was confused afterwards and, hired coaches and was still confused, it's not that they didn't give me what I purchased. But what it is sometimes they give you things in a way that's not going to bring you the success you're looking for. And so for me, I needed someone to look specifically at my business. So yes, I can attend a group coaching program, but I also want someone who's going to work with me one-on-one and look at my business and give me feedback about what I'm doing, because there's nothing like that human connection. And so that's why with all of my programs, I always add that human component where I'm looking at my client's business, specifically their business, and giving them specific feedback based on my conversations with them and after hearing their goals and looking at what they're doing. It's not that these courses and programs I purchased didn't give me what I bought. They did. It just didn't bring me the success I desired. But it was when I decided what I needed and how I best learned that I achieved the most success. So I want to tell you about these 5 components. And these same 5 components are the same components. You have to focus on these areas when you're starting a business. And if you're experiencing some issues in your business and you're not generating the revenue that you want, you have to also revisit these areas that, no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're starting, e-commerce, whatever the case may be. So the first component is mindset. I know a lot of people come into entrepreneurship and they're looking at, I just, I got to pay bills, they told me this would generate money for me. And you can't really come in to a business with that mindset. Entrepreneurship has to be something you really want. You may or may not earn money right away. You have to be prepared to allow yourself to learn and give yourself grace and understanding. And so everything starts with mindset. So with business, depending on who you ask, mindset is about 80 to 90% of starting and running and scaling a business. And, strategy and everything else could be 20, 10, 5%. It's not about the fact that you will fall and you will fail at some things. It's about the fact that you need to get up, that you have to get up and live another day to do this business. You have to pick yourself up. You have to pick yourself up. You can't lay there and give up. And if you're not in business for the right reasons, or you don't take the time to really develop, your mindset and really condition yourself to have the right habits to, really be consistent in business, you're going to get out of it what you put into it. So the next key area is idea. Remember, I said I was looking in social media land for my business idea, and there's nothing wrong with learning something new. But I hadn't even asked myself what I enjoyed doing. And so what I ended up being is kind of mismatched. I was finding all these different ideas, and there's no shortage of business ideas on social media, but I was mismatched with, my skill level versus the business ideas I was pursuing. And so you have to first kind of look within and know what your skills are. And it's okay to not want to do exactly what you were doing before, or the type of work that you're doing in your 9 to 5, but you do need to do something that relates to your skill set. Otherwise, you are relying on the skill set of someone else to get you to the point of, learning the business and learning about the product that you're selling. And when you come in with your own skill set and you're able to do it, then it's all about building around that and learning the business aspect of leveraging what you already know. The next key component, and this is number 3, is problem. What problem are you solving? I always take my clients through a process. So we start off, we look at your business idea. Sometimes my clients have a clear vision of what they see themselves doing. Sometimes they don't. But, the thing that we have to focus on before we can do anything else, before we can do any program development, before we can, create this wonderful framework for your coaching program or package up your done for you service, we have to know, what problem do you solve? And you have to communicate that and put that in your messaging and everything that you do. Otherwise, people won't understand what you do, and they won't understand whether or not you're the right person for them to sign on with. So what problem you solve is very, very important. And I would say, the vast majority of the clients that I've worked with over the course of, years, they don't know what problem they solve. They know that they sell the service and they think that they're supposed to market the product or market the service. And that's just not the case. Then there's the 4th area. And this is the area that a lot of people skip. they graze over because they're finding their business idea in social media land and online. They're grazing over the market research part because they're trusting that the person that they just followed, this business idea that they just learned about from this people, and it's like, oh, okay, they're successful at it. Surely this is a successful product or service I can provide. And that may not be the case. You can't predict your success based on the success of others. What you can do is you can gather information about that particular business idea, really reflect on it and think about, is this something that I'd like to do? But most importantly, research that product, research the product and see what's happening in the industry. What's the potential for repeat customers, or what can I offer to keep people coming in, coming to me? And a big part is, what gaps are there in this industry that I can tap into so that I can stand out amongst the crowd, the noise, and everyone else that's selling the same service that I am? And what volume are people searching for this? And what are people saying that they need? What way are they searching for this product when they search online? So market research is key. It helps you know, is this, a viable idea for you? And sometimes it's a matter of not changing your idea, but really just packaging it up differently and packaging it up in a way that's going to be most appealing. And if you don't know what's out there, how are you going to package up a winning product? And so the market research, the packaging, and the pricing all kind of goes into one kind of basket. And then there's marketing and sales. What ends up happening is that a lot of people, that's all they do, that they're posting, they're constantly talking about their product, they're sending these spammy messages about what they sell, and they skip the marketing part. They skip the marketing part altogether. And so marketing and sales, you have to have a plan. You have to know what you're doing. You have to be strategic. And then the other unwritten component is that you have to evaluate, know your key performance indicators. What are your indicators for success for the program or business you're creating? How will you know when you're doing well? And usually when there's something wrong or you're not meeting your revenue goals or your other goals that you may have in place, it's usually in one of these components that you have to kind of go back. Maybe you need to tweak your offer. Maybe your messaging is off. Maybe the way you're packaging up your offer is not as appealing and you need to repackage it. Maybe you're not clear about what problem you're solving. And people are confused about, what you're offering, because maybe you're offering one thing, but your audience needs something else. Be willing to revisit these areas and see what's going wrong when you're not meeting your goals. And, for folks that are looking to revive a business that maybe didn't do well or that they didn't stay consistent to continue operating, these are the areas you want to look at. And for some people, you just got to start at ground zero, because the time that you may have left your business and now, it just may be a different time. Things have changed, or maybe you don't even want to do the same thing you were doing before. You have to know when to scrap things. You have to know when to look at what's not working and scrap it as well. And so that's all part of being able to evaluate yourself, invest in yourself so that you have other eyes on what you're doing. So if you're planning to start a service provider business like coaching, consulting, or other service-based business, I want to invite you to hop on a call. This is a free, no obligation call where we can map out your customized game plan to get started. So if this sounds like something you'd like to do, feel free to visit CEOBlueprintAcademy.com. That's CEOBlueprintAcademy.com. And go ahead and let's get you on my calendar. Just keep in mind, I don't open up my calendar to these types of sessions that often. So I suggest if you're listening to this episode and you're hearing this offer, that you go ahead and visit the link to see if it still links to my calendar. Okay, with that being said, that concludes this episode. New episodes of the Boss Experience podcast return in January 2023. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in to the Boss Experience podcast. Don't forget to leave a review for this episode and tune in next time.